Welcome to How to Start a Website 2.0. You can find the blog article that goes with this session at howtostartawebsite2.com/widgets. All right, we're really close to having our website looking and functioning the way we want. We're back at the demo website, and as you can see, we have these big pink areas over in the sidebars, and because I'm logged in, the website is basically telling me that you have these sidebars, you have these widget areas, but you don't have anything in them. These pink boxes do not show up for anybody else but you. If you've been following along all of my videos, you know that in a previous video we set up the front page to have different widget areas from our inner pages. So if I go over to the About page, you'll see that the About page already has a list of widgets that were kind of there by default when we installed this theme, and then we have one over here that we never put anything in. So how do we choose which widgets we want to show, and how do we get them into place? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our dashboard, and from here what we're going to do is splice into an upgraded version of WordPress and what the dashboard looks like now since version 3.8 has been released. For the most part, the functionality of WordPress is exactly the same as it always been. It's just that it looks a little bit different. Instead of the light grays and the whites and the blues, we now have the blacks, the grays, and the blues going on. But everything is pretty much in the same place it was before, and everything pretty much functions the same way that it used to. But I figured, just to keep from confusing people, that I would start updating my videos with the new WordPress look, so that you can follow along exactly with what's going on your computer screen as is going on in the video. So this is now what the dashboard looks like if you are on WordPress 3.8 or higher. So again, to get to the widget area, we're going to come over here to the left hand side, hover over Appearance, and then come over and click on Widgets. So now this is what the widget area looks like inside of the new dashboard. It used to be that your widget areas were all along the right hand side, and then your available widgets to put in these areas were then available over here. But that column is just a little bit narrower now, but this is everything that's available as a widget, and these are our widget areas. I guess the new layout is supposed to keep you from having to scroll up and down quite so far in order to reach and access everything. So if we go back over to the website and look at the About page, this is the sidebar widget area, and these were all widgets that kind of came in by default when we loaded this theme. So if we go back over to the dashboard, those widgets are all listed right here under sidebar widget area. And moving things in and out are, it's exactly the same as it's always been. If we don't want the search, we can just drag it and drop it back over in the available widget section, and that takes it out of this lineup. So now if I go back over here and refresh this page, you see that the search that was the top widget is now gone. And I highly recommend that if you're a brand new website with very little content, that you don't include a search functionality, because more than likely you're just going to frustrate people because you don't have enough content to search through yet. So for right now, it doesn't make sense to have one. Maybe 6 months, a year down the road, depending on how quickly you get new content onto your site and build up a huge inventory. That will determine how quickly you decide to go ahead and put a search function back on your site. A mistake I see a lot of blogs make. They will decide to list their most popular posts, and then their recent posts, and then their archives, and then their categories, and it really doesn't make sense to supply all of that information. If you're going to supply any of them, pick one. You don't need like 16 different ways to display your blog posts, especially when you don't have that many on your site yet. Right now, this setup has our recent posts at the top, and that's fine. I don't believe there is a widget available right now for the most popular posts. These widgets become available depending on different plugins that you're utilizing or different themes that you're utilizing. Like, for instance, we're using the Akismet plugin. There's an Akismet widget, and which displays the number of spam comments Akismet has caught. Now, why on earth you would want to tell your readers how many spam comments your website's had, I don't know, but it's a widget. I mean, and people can get caught up with, well, it's here, it must be important, I better include that somewhere. You don't have to. But getting back to what I was talking about before with your posts, either on your main page or on your sidebar, you can include just one thing that is about your something about your post, but certainly not all of those various things. Another widget that's available is recent comments. This is something else that I have not found to be particularly helpful, because these comments are separated from the blog articles that they were made on. So out of context, they're probably not going to make a lot of sense. Unless there's something like, hey, the great post. I mean, if that's something that you want to put up for bragging rights, maybe you'd want to include that. Otherwise, I don't think it's particularly helpful in this kind of context. So we're just going to drag and drop it off the list. Again, archives, we don't need that. In addition to the recent post, so I'm going to drag that off. Same with categories, we're going to drag it off. And the metadata, that's not something else that's particularly helpful for your average reader, so we'll get rid of that as well. Now, if we open up these other widget areas, they all should be empty right now because we haven't put anything in them. So let's take a look at how to start a website 2.0 and how we're utilizing widgets on the public blog. As you can see on the front page, I'm giving my current readers the ability to log into the vault if they're a member. I also include a resource page of all of the tools that I use when I create my websites. I feel that this is something that's really handy for either the return reader or the new reader, just to get an idea of what things may I be talking about on my website, because it's all right here in one place. Obviously, if these are the tools I'm using, these are the things I'm going to be talking about in various blog articles and in my training. I also give my brand new reader a place to start, and that's what this widget over here does. It is the very first article in the training series, and I, instead of having somebody come in mid-stride and not really know, where I'm at with my training, I want to give them a clear heads up. If you're new, start here. And then, of course, it's important to have a way for your readers or your returning readers to opt into your email list. And even though this doesn't look like your traditional opt-in form, that's what this image here is behaving as. If we click through that real quick, it takes us over to like a landing page telling people what the vault is all about and how to gain free access to that. And if they scroll down, they will see how to get to the registration page. And what happens is, if they register for the vault At the same time, they're given the email sequence to confirm that they're opted into my email list. And then when they come back here, they can just put in their username and the password that they created in the registration process to then log in to gain access to the vault. So this is kind of a higher functioning way of getting people to subscribe to your website. It's not the traditional Aweber or MailChimp opt-in box. And in a future video, I will show you how to create those and how to get them onto your site. But other widget areas that are common to have are down here in the footer. This particular theme has 3 footer widget areas. The free theme that we had installed over here also has the ability to do footer widgets, and you're able to determine exactly how many you want. I'm not utilizing any over here yet. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But if we click through to, say, the contact page, I said I didn't want to have any sidebar, so there's no widgets going on there except for down in the footer. And again, over the training is actually the blog for this website, and it still shows what you saw on the home page. I didn't change them up any. Same way if you click into an article. It shows the same widgets. Now, this particular theme that I'm using, there is a widget area up here in the header, and I made a custom menu to appear up here right inside of the header. Had I used the traditional menu bar, that would have showed up down here, and probably I think underneath the tagline in between this and the bigger content area. I didn't really like how that looked, so I used a widget that enabled me to create the menu up here. And the graphene theme, which is the free theme that we installed in earlier videos, that has the ability to do a custom menu in widget areas as well. So let's go back to the dashboard, and just to show you, what some of these things look like as far as putting them on your website. I can create like a login area similar to what you see here. Now I already have it created down here in inactive widgets. Like I said, I'm kind of redoing this video just to show the new layout for WordPress 3.8, and I can say I want that on sidebar widget area number 2. Now if I open this up, basically it's just a text box, and I gave it a title called login here, and then I used HTML code to link to the image and turn it into a link that if people click through it, they would go to the login page on the Vault website. And I also specify, how tall and how wide it should be. So now if I save that and we go back over to the website, you can now see that shows up right over here. So going back over to the dashboard, some other widgets that are available is a calendar. This particular calendar will show which days of the month you have posted content by making the number a different color or more bold. Not something I think is particularly useful, especially if you're blogging every day, or maybe only blogging once or twice a month. I mean, do you really want to call people's attention to how infrequently you're posting if you're not posting a lot? And how is this useful if you're posting every day or multiple times per day? So I've never really found the calendar to be all that useful, so I don't use it. Now here again, here's that custom menu. If we were to use this in one of the widget areas, we would be able to create something like you see up here in the header bar of the main website. We can also give our reader a list of site pages. Maybe we don't want to have our site pages along the top here. Maybe we want to put them like down the side instead. You would use this Pages widget to do that. And again, this recent posts, I do believe that is already on the website. We can take a look at that. So these are the last several posts that we put on this this practice website. We went over the search functionality, the text. Again, I think the text is the one you'll probably use most often. It's also the widget that we'll use when creating our MailChimp and our Aweber forms. And like I said, we'll get into that in a future video. The Archives widget, we can take a look at that real quick. We'll throw that on the front page sidebar. So we're going to put the Archives widget on the front page sidebar widget area. So I'll need to come over to the front page. And the only thing that was, the only articles that were put on this practice site were all put on December. So the only line on the archives list is December of 2013. And if we click through to that, it basically just gives you a list of all the blog posts that were released in December. You know, again, it's up to you if you think that's something that your reader would find useful. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your site. Categories, again, this is not a widget that I use very often. It's going to depend on you know, what is the content that's going to be talked about on your site? Can it be broken down in very clear and concise categories? And do you want your reader to be able to find things based on those categories? That's when this particular widget would come in handy. And I'll just throw that on the back on the front page so we can take a closer look at that. Now we can give this a title, and you can change how it performs and what it shows. I'm just going to leave everything default for right now, and we go back over and refresh. And it's probably, I put it on the front page. Let's get over there. So here's a list of all the categories that are available on our practice site. Now again, I didn't give them categories when we quickly created those, so they're all here as uncategorized. It's the only category available. But you know, maybe you're, have a website on, recipes. So maybe you'll have a category that's fish and one that's, pasta. Whatever you can think of. And maybe you want people to be able to find articles based on those categories. That's when you would use this widget. So if I go through the uncategorized, you're going to see that same list again because they've all been labeled uncategorized. I've never found metadata to be useful. We can throw that back on, take a look at it real quick. Go back to the... So the meta is basically, it gives you the ability to log in and log out. I mean, you know how to do that without putting it right on your site. So it's not something I include, and I don't think it's something that you'd want to include. And we already went over recent comments. And the other big one that you see a lot is the RSS widget. Now, if you don't know what RSS is, basically it gives people the ability to sign up to your feed and then have your blog articles come into what's called a reader. And this kind of gives them the ability to keep tabs on numerous blogs all from one place without actually visiting your blog. Now, you have no way of interacting with these people except for them passively consuming your content. So I basically say don't include an RSS sign up on your website, because you don't want people on your RSS. You want them on your email list so that you can start to have a two-way conversation, and it gives you the ability to talk directly to people that have, shown enough interest that they want to be a part of your newsletter. And then the other widget that's available right here is the tag cloud. And again, this is not something that I think you want to clutter up your website with. Now, of course, this is just like a small sample of all the various widgets that are available. Again, like I said, as you start to install other plugins, or if you use different themes, or if you go with, especially if you download Jetpack from WordPress, you'll see your widget availability like almost double instantly, just from all the various things that are available to do within Jetpack as you start to install different pieces of functionality from that plugin. But like I said, more is not always necessarily better. You basically want to give your reader a very clear path of what they need. You don't want them going out to your Twitter feed. You don't want them going out to your Facebook fan page. You work so hard to get them on your site. You want to keep them there long enough to get them engaged, to get them interested and wanting to opt into your email list. I mean, if the first thing they see is, oh, come over and see what I'm doing on Facebook, boom, they're gone. And God only knows if you're ever going to get them back. Because once they're on Facebook, they're totally distracted and they're checking everything but your fan page, more than likely, even though that's where you sent them to. So again, going back to the public blog as an example, the only things you see here are exactly what my readers or my new readers need to know who I am, how to get started, how to sign up for the membership site. And you guys, again, my returning people, how they can, log in directly without having to chase around how to get there, and a handy resource page. There's nothing here that is unneeded or distracting. Thank you for watching and listening to another session from How to Start a Website 2.0. This episode is just one of many available inside my online course. Register for free today at howtostartawebsite2.com/thevault.